Ski Tips with Josh Foster. Sponsored by Canada's favorite family ski resort, Big White, in the Thompson Okanagan, near Kelowna, BC.
So when I'm skiing some steeper terrain, I think a little bit more tactically. You know, and one of those tactics that I think is kind of funny and fitting that we're on a run here today called Goat's Kick. Nice steep black run, it's got a few bumps in it, but I think of skiing like a mountain goat. Come on down the hill here and I'll show you what I mean. So what exactly does it mean, skiing like a mountain goat? Well, I'll tell you, it has a lot to do with how you stand on the side of a mountain. You know, I spend a lot of time skiing in the Rockies, and one of the best things is the wildlife that you see there. There's quite a few mountain goats, and one thing that I noticed is when a mountain goat is standing on the side of the slope, it kind of points its rear end up the hill a little bit, and then its legs are down the mountain. That gives it some support and some grip, and that's what I think of in the steeps when I'm skiing. Come on and I'll show you what it looks like while we're sliding. Hey, check this out here. This would be a good thing to show you in slow motion. Watch as I move through the turn, especially towards the bottom of the turn, my rear end is pointed a little bit more up the mountain. That's what helps my skis grip. So even in these bumps here, I'm thinking of keeping my rear end pointed up the hill just a little bit more, and my hips are open down the hill. Woo, man, nothing gets your heart rate up and that adrenaline pumping like skiing some steeps. I really, really love that terrain. And you know, if you want to rip those steep lines like you've seen in the show here, those guys are above some steep, gnarly cliffs, some really exposed terrain. You know what they're doing? They're standing on the side of a mountain just like a mountain goat. Rear end is pointed up the slope, hips are pointed down the slope. That's how they're getting that edge grip. So I hope that one works for you. From beautiful Big White Ski Resort, Canada's favorite family resort just outside of Kelowna, BC, I'm Josh. We'll see you next time.
As I mentioned earlier in the show, Fernie Alpine Resort is celebrating its 50th birthday, and they've decided to treat themselves to one heck of a present, the Polar Peak Chair. It catapults Fernie to the next level, delivering spectacular alpine terrain and the highest vertical in the Canadian Rockies.
So the new Polar Peak Chairlift opened up a whole new ski experience for Fernie. We've increased our vertical to just over 3,500 feet. We have wide open bowl alpine skiing, we have chutes, we have double black diamonds, black diamond, blue runs. It's an amazing new experience for Fernie skiers and boarders. So the new terrain up Polar Peak has been accessible for skiers and riders, but they've had to hike before. Now with the new chairlift, people have easier access to it. We can also give access to slack country skiers, or backcountry skiers as some people call them. We have a gate up there that checks to make sure everybody has their beacons, probes and shovels, and they can access the wealth of backcountry that Fernie has to offer as well. So it's really up the level for Fernie ski experience here. Speaking with some of the guests that have been on top of Polar Peak, they are absolutely amazed at the scenery we have up here. 360 degrees of Rocky Mountain views every direction. It's absolutely spectacular. We're very blessed by having this new chairlift up here, and it's just absolutely spectacular.
This is the Grizz, and legend has it that the Grizz was born in the bear's den and somehow managed to kill the bear, steal his hide, use it as a jacket, and roam these mountains for like a century, firing his musket into the air, prompting some of the legendary powder that Fernie's known for. Okay, the legend of the Grizz may be a stretch, but Fernie has some real history that becomes increasingly evident when you head downtown. Turn-of-the-century brick buildings suggest that this place wasn't built yesterday, and at the heart of it all, the Fernie Museum.
We've been here in this building for a couple of years now, and what we have on display on both floors is an exhibit about the story of skiing in Fernie, and particularly celebrating the 50th anniversary of the present ski hill. Since people arrived in Fernie over 100 years ago, they noticed one thing: we get lots of snow. And the use of the wintertime for recreation, it goes back to, at least on an organized basis, to 1909 when there was a snowshoe club. And throughout the years, people have recreated in the snow as part of the benefits of living in Fernie. What I like in this particular exhibit is one of the original trail map of the first part of the ski hill. It stood up at the top for a number of years, and we have it on our wall here. And it gives you a good feeling for what they dealt with then, and also some of the present lifts as well. So I like that.
Having traveled so much in the ski world, I'm continuously asked to name my favorite ski town. And when you take Fernie's rich ski history, its beautiful downtown, its epic terrain, and its awesome snowfalls, it makes Fernie pretty tough to beat. Anyway, that's all we got for this week. I'm Joe Lammers. See ya. And now it's time for this week's web poll. Which of these young Canadian racers will end up with more podium finishes in their World Cup careers? Aaron Milzinski or Ben Thompson? Log on to snowsportsculture.com today and take the poll.